Good afternoon, and welcome to all of you who attended UNA-Westchester's annual meeting and Earth Day at the Will Public Library in Yonkers, or on Zoom, on May 4th, 2025. I am Marcia Brewster. I'm president of the United Nations Association USA Westchester chapter. We have an exciting program for you today, focusing on protection of the environment and its impact on human health. We had an excellent keynote speaker, our special guest, Valentina Buj, who's a senior official at UNICEF and an expert in this area, and an outstanding panel of climate activists who are implementing climate protection programs on the ground here in Westchester County. What follows on this recording is an abbreviated version of the annual meeting. We unfortunately were unable to catch the first 20 minutes of the meeting, and so the recording does not include the excellent keynote address from Valentina Buj, nor the beginning of the panel discussion. However, much of the panel discussion and the presentation of the annual report, our new board of directors, and the awards conveyed to our local climate champions are there, and they're all included. Unfortunately, we regret the technical mishap occurred and want to apologize to Valentina Buj for not including her keynote address. Now on to our program. UNA-Westchester is pleased to welcome our UNA members, the general public, our current and recently elected board of directors, and our co-sponsors to this annual meeting and Earth Day event. I want to give a shout out to Paul Presendiu, our vice president and nominating chair and chairman of this event, as well as to Dimitrios Mihailides, our vice president and education co-chair, for their invaluable support in organizing this program. I want to recognize our volunteers, UUA and Natalie at the registration desk, with support from Michelle Shivers, who is one of our new board of directors, and Felenza Krasnicki, who is in charge of our zero waste reception following the program. We also want to express our thanks to our co-sponsors, Clean and Healthy New York, with Sophia Longsworth here today, and the Sierra Club Lower Hudson Group, represented by Sarah Wilson, who is one of our panelists today. They have information on the table in the reception area. Our other co-sponsors are We Act for Environmental Justice, represented by Pamela Stewart-Martinez, also a panelist, and the New York State Association of Conservation Commissions. Our moderator, Rand Manasse, represents UNA's partner, the Federated Conservationists of Westchester County, and Oded Holzinger, panelist, who is executive director of Groundwork Hudson Valley, another one of our partners. We are so fortunate here in Westchester County to have such dedicated climate action groups. We are certainly a leader in the state and in the country. The Trump administration is undermining the work of the United Nations by pulling out of the World Health Organization, the Paris Agreement on Climate Change, the Sustainable Development Goals, the Commission on the Status of Women, as well as the Human Rights Commission. After significant progress in climate action under the previous administration, it is distressing to see this turnaround that promotes the coal industry and oil and gas drilling. In response, we expect that New York State will continue to lead the nation in climate action and that Westchester municipal leaders will be able to resist federal interference. We are lucky to have municipalities leading on climate action here in Westchester. Hastings-on-Hudson, Croton-on-Hudson, and Bedford are the highest ranking climate smart communities in the state. We need to work together at the local, state, national, and international levels to address the challenges of climate change. Please let your representatives in Congress know that the work of the United Nations in climate action is important to our communities and essential to a thriving global society. And please join UNA Westchester by becoming a member of our chapter. You can register at our website, UNA-Westchester.org or UNAUSA.org/join. Following the keynote address by Mrs. Valentina Buj, and thanks to her, presented by Dimitrios Mihailides, we will continue the video with the panel moderated by Rand Manasse and featuring local climate activists Pamela Stewart-Martinez, Oded Holzinger, and Sarah Wilson. I hope you enjoy the program. Please take it away, Derek.
And think about a project that you've worked on that we might be able to scale up to an international level. So if we can do that, and Oded, if you can go first on this and tell us about one of your projects and how it can be scaled up.
Sure, thank you. So as I mentioned before, one of our programs is our community adaptation program. Up until a few months ago, the name was Climate Resilience Program, but from reasons you can all understand, we shift away from that name. And that's a program that I myself had the honor to lead as the previous program manager. And one of the projects that we've done there is called Climate Safe Neighborhoods. That is a project that was a national partnership of the Groundwork Network done all throughout the country. And the Climate Safe Neighborhoods partnership was focused on looking at our cities and trying to analyze the relationships between socioeconomic disparities and environmental hazards through systematic racism. In the context of Yonkers and many other cities, that was through looking at the relationship between climate vulnerability and the practice of redlining. And here in Yonkers, we found that there's a direct correlation between previously redlined neighborhoods and the impact of extreme heat on these neighborhoods. The next step was, after the analysis, was doing a lot of community outreach, organizing the communities, which we did through the Climate Safe Yonkers Task Force, a group of 30 community members representing those most vulnerable communities, and developing partnerships with government agencies as well as with partner organizations like We Act that led us through a heat tour in East Harlem, led our community members through that tour. We had the privilege of having our Climate Safe Yonkers Task Force work with the city to develop the first ever Yonkers Climate Action Plan and lead the equity review of that plan, really looking at each recommendation and thinking about which neighborhood, which population needs to be prioritized, which population might be actually heard from a certain recommended policy. And following that work, we developed working groups on specific topics like air quality, tree canopy expansion, shade structures, and each working group includes those community members working on moving towards implementation. The general idea behind this program and why I think it could be replicable throughout the world is that community engagement is not just a box that you want to check. You know, we've done one event where we invited the community members, or we had a week where they could submit their comments online. But community engagement means building a process, a planning process, a design process that is constantly engaging the community and is actually reliant on the input of the community and their leadership to make sure that it is based on the actual needs of the community. And I'm an urban planner myself, and working with the working groups, I learn so much professional knowledge that I didn't get in academia. So that's the initiative that I wanted to share about. Thank you.
Sure.
So I feel like the best answer to this is giving a shout out to my executive director, Peggy Shepard. Her and a group of other leaders like Dr. Beverly Wright, Dr. Robert Bullard, Fred Crump, and Dr. Deb Morrison all got together for COP27 and worked on creating a climate justice pavilion at the COP. which is something that was never done before. And it was amazing, and it gave voices not just to like our communities here in the US, but it also gave voices to communities all across the globe that came there and felt like their voices were finally heard in a very meaningful kind of way. The sad part is that after that, COP28, COP29, there was no climate justice pavilion. So what I feel going forward, if there's a way that we can all connect together and work on pushing for this to happen for all future COPs, I think that would be a benefit to all of those communities who sometimes go to these venues and feel unheard.
Great. And
Sure. The Sierra Club has a broad array of initiatives that we're involved in, and after the event, stop by our table outside and read about all of them. But since you just asked about one particular project, zero waste, one way that we can address climate change is to address consumption and waste in our society. Diversion through repair saves energy and resources. A project that's near and dear to my heart is the establishment of repair cafes. We throw away vast amounts of stuff, even things that have very little wrong with them and which could get a new lease on life after a simple repair. For every item that we put out at the curb as trash, numerous materials and manufacturing and energy has gone into producing that item. The production of products and packaging is associated with 44% of all greenhouse gas emissions. A lot of young people don't know that items can be repaired the way our grandparents and great-grandparents, they couldn't order on Amazon, right? You had to fix it. Repair cafes are free meeting places where visitors bring their broken items from home and hook up with volunteer fixers to see if those items can be saved from the incinerator, saved from the landfill. All sorts of items are brought in. When items are repaired, they can be used for a longer period of time. They don't have to be thrown away. This reduces the volume of raw materials and energy needed to make new products. Manufacturing new products causes CO2 to be released, so we can reduce our CO2 emissions by cutting down our consumption. Repair cafes help to change people's mindsets from a throwaway culture to a more sustainable economy. Incinerators, which we use here in Westchester, emit toxic air emissions and produce toxic incinerator ash that needs landfilling. Incinerators emit more CO2 than coal-burning power plants per megawatt hour. The good news is that this concept is already spreading internationally. It started in Amsterdam in 2009. It was brought here to the Hudson Valley in 2013. I'm the organizer of the Repair Cafe in Yorktown. We held our first one in 2018. Since then, we've held 25 repair cafes just in my hometown of Yorktown, looking at over 1,700 items, and approximately 70% of them are repaired and saved. Since then, they've spread throughout our area, through the Hudson Valley. There are numerous repair cafes, and here in Westchester, they're in many, many communities now, in Rockland, in Putnam, in Orange County, and it's a real community event. So I'll just highlight that as one project, and it is spread internationally already, started in Europe, is now in Africa, India, Japan, and throughout the United States. Thank you.
Great, I thank you for that. So this last question is one that's very dear to me, and it's also a very interesting question to hear how people got inspired to do the work they did. I'm going to answer this question even though I'm not a panelist first, and my answer is not going to be one that I want you to answer because I'm going to take a little deviation from it. And I know some of you might have heard this answer. I know Paul has heard this before. But what inspires me to do the work I do every day is an answer that none of you are going to have because it's two little people in my life. It's someone named Sasha and Mila. They're my grandkids. And that's what inspires me every day to do this. It's a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old, and we have to make this world a better place for them. So my question is what inspired you in the early days of your career to do the work that you're doing? We all were inspired to get here somehow. What was the inspiration for you? And Sarah, I'm going to start with you.
Well, I still work. I am involved in a variety of different things, but just limiting it to environmental activities and specifically Sierra Club. I'd been a dues-paying member of the Sierra Club, since the 1980s, and I would, pay my dues each year, and that was it. So I have to thank a gentleman named George Klein, who's been very active in our Lower Hudson Group for decades. I'm sure you know George. And he has the gift of being able to build relationships with people. He met with me, spoke with me, heard about my interests and concerns, and encouraged me to get more active in the local group. I'm an accountant by trade, spent my career in finance, so of course I became the treasurer of the Lower Hudson Group, and then from there have held various roles. And so, I admire the skill set of somebody who can, to an organization, who has those social skills to be able to reach out, meet people where they are, find out what they're passionate about, and then encourage them to act on that passion and be more active. Thanks.
Thank you. So my answer will be divided to the what and then the who. The what, when in my early 20s, I worked in environmental and outdoor education with children and youth from underserved communities in Jerusalem, and that's where I got to see firsthand. I was an outdoorsy person, and I took that to the education field. That's where I got to really experience in firsthand the disparities that exist when it comes to access to open space. And those disparities have to do with socioeconomics, with the political reality of a certain location. But I use nature, local forests, as a therapeutical and educational tool, and I think that cities should be weaved with those assets, but certain areas have them more accessible versus other areas, and there is a systematic issue here, and that led me to move to New York City and start my studies in urban planning at Hunter College, where I was very fortunate to study with the late Professor Wilbur L. Woods. Bill Woods, who passed away in 2017, just a year after I took some classes with him. He served for many years in New York City Department of City Planning, and he established and led for over 2 decades the Division for Waterfront and Open Space Access under the Department of City Planning. And he's a technocrat, as you can imagine from what I'm explaining, but in his teaching, though he did not use the jargon of equity and environmental justice the way that we all use it today, his planning work and his educational and teaching work had it embedded in his work. So we learned that planning and design is not just about land use and zoning, but it's actually about asking the question of who's gonna be using that waterfront? Who's gonna be working, the day laborer that will be working at this waterfront? Which communities will be served by a certain project and which communities will be underserved by a certain project. And if there's a community that is underserved by a certain policy or project, why is that? What are the structural issues that lead to this community being underserved, and how can we course correct? And that is something that he led when he developed a comprehensive plan for New York City's waterfront and open spaces, and something that I took a lot from into my work today, leading community-based planning practices. Thank you.
So my response is going to be very different as well. The early part of my life, I was in the foster care system. And if you know anything about statistics and the probability of people being able to move past a set of circumstances, when you're in the public school, the foster care system, there's so many barriers. So most folks who are in the foster care system don't graduate from high school. It just doesn't happen. High percentage of folks do not. A lot of them wind up incarcerated. And the mere fact that I'm here kind of says that I beat those odds. And the only reason I was able to beat those odds is because two individuals chose me, chose to raise me in a community that chose to embrace me. And that was in northern Manhattan. And I have to say that I was truly, truly blessed with the opportunity to be able to pay it forward back to that community. Every day I wake up and I go to work in northern Manhattan, and I work hard to figure out ways so that their voices are heard, that any cumulative impacts that they may be affected by, we figure out a way to work around that through policy, through working with our elected officials, through creating leaders, through education about our political system. It brings me great joy to understand the fact that I could never repay everything that's been given to me, but I can try so hard to make sure that other me's that grow up in that community are not affected by the same things that I was affected by. So I feel truly blessed to be able to do that, and that's my inspiration.
Wonderful. We're now going to move into a Q&A. Does anyone have any questions for us? Great. Yeah, you're going to have to speak up, please. So, first question, please.
This mic. Good afternoon, everyone.
That's a better mic.
Oh.
Let's do a little both, yeah.
My question is, what is your awareness and involvement of the beauty justice movement? I don't know if you're necessarily aware of it, but it's come to my attention that Black women in particular are affected by the beauty justice movement. Often, many of us wear braids, wear weaves, and there has been significant studies saying that there are carcinogens, lead, that affect our health, particularly relaxers. And I would like to know your efforts in bringing that awareness to women of color who may be affected, who are affected by the products that they use to beautify themselves.
Who would like to take this?
So right now I'm representing We Act for Change, which is a 501c4 organization, but I do have a connection with We Act for Environmental Justice. And what I can tell you is that We Act for Environmental Justice actually has a working group called Beauty Inside Out. They tackle those very issues. They're very active in lobbying and advocacy around it and education. Also sharing information with community members about where you can look up the ingredients to be safe when you make your selections and you shop. And it's not just from the, I would say, the hair products that we use, although it is targeted, and I feel, and it is placed in certain communities more so than others. It's also in personal care items as well. So we have to be very conscious about that. We really need to be looking at the ingredients and not just hair products, but deodorant, lotion. There are so many personal care items out there that we should be cautious of. So what I would encourage folks to do is definitely visit We Act for Environmental Justice's website, weact.org, and click on our working group, Beauty Inside Out, join the group. We continue to push and fight for our community members.
So environmental justice is something that is definitely an international subject that needs to be addressed, and WEAC is doing a great job at it. Any other questions?
My name, can you hear me? No.
No. If you can hold it closer to your mouth if you
Thank
could. Thank
Can
you.
you hear me? I know I do very badly. I don't have a question, but I wanted to, first of all, my name is Dr. Rosemary Uzo, and I am a member of the board here. Lucky to be a member, yes, and I wanted to thank you for coming. And as you spoke, I thought about how each one of you has personally touched my life. I haven't been to a repair cafe yet, but I have a box of stuff in the basement that I need the schedule. And also, I know very much about the foster care system because I did home a young lady. I got her when she was 10 years old, and I think I could write the book, and so can she. So I want to talk to you about it after. But I particularly want to thank Groundwork for the work that they do. I'm on the board, and I represent the mayor for the South Broadway bid. And I can't tell you how wonderful it is to have you and all the projects that you do in Yonkers and the money that you've gotten from Schumer to help that take effect. Maybe you want to talk a little bit more about the science barge, that wonderful barge on the Hudson River that is part of our educational system. I don't know whether you told us when people can go and see it and some of the activities that take place there. So maybe you could say a little bit more about it. And once again, thank you so much.
Thank you. So first, I want to thank you and the South Broadway bid. I mentioned it earlier on, but partnerships is the essence of all we do and is so important for that. We never want to be that entity that comes to a community and tells them what we think should be done. That's not the role of community-based organizations like us. It's about working with the local communities, with the different neighborhood associations, business improvement districts, learning about the challenges, the barriers, and the needs and the wishes and what could be done to promote them. And we have a wonderful partnership with the South Broadway bid around more climate adaptive streetscaping and access to green space in one of the most underserved communities in Westchester County and the state, in fact. And the Science Barge, our sustainability education system, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the exact date, but end of this month is our grand opening. And so starting the end of this month, we're open to the public every Saturday and Sunday. You can come in and learn about this off-the-grid floating farm And we're also going to be hosting community events on the barge. We just got new planters with wheels, so we can shift them around and set up the barge for larger community events. So stay tuned on our website, groundworkhv.org, to learn about this, or our social media to learn about these community events. And also mention that one of our greatest partnerships for the Science Barge is with the Yonkers Public School District, and that is a partnership that is skyrocketing now, because we're bringing the Science Barge education into the schools. We're doing a lot of work in schools, and also developing projects like green roofs and green infrastructure at the school together with students. So we have the site, but we're also bringing it home to the students.
So I think we're running low on time, and we have one or two more questions. One more question. Okay. But if you haven't been to the Science Barge while we get the question up, it's a great place to go.
Thank you very much to the panelists for this amazing convention that you guys did. I actually love what you guys said, and I'm very happy that I was able to hear this. So I had a question for you, Miss Sarah Wilson. Composting where I live is a very big thing, but it doesn't get enough attention as it should. And I've been told that it goes to incinerators, and it's just not really going through the process it should be, not getting enough attention. So my question for you is, how will you ensure, and how can we all ensure, that composting is something that we truly put forward from our kitchens, from schools, so we can make a change in our climate? Because we know that composting has a huge impact. It may be a small thing, but how can we raise awareness, spread through communities, and talk about how composting can really change, and how to ensure that it's long-term and it makes a really big impact? That's my question.
So the question was about composting. Sarah, do you want to take it?
Yes. So again, as part of the goal for zero waste, you have biodegradable waste, such as food scraps, and think of how inefficient it is to take food and burn it in an incinerator. It's crazy. So, I happen to be a member of my Climate Smart Community Task Force in my town. Composting really needs to exist in every community. Some of the early adopters, Scarsdale was preeminent in starting food scraps, but again, that is spreading throughout Westchester County and into Putnam and elsewhere. Really, what I think is needed is to have a group of residents go to your town board, go to your refuse and recycling, go to your Climate Smart or Conservation Committee if you have it, and advocate for it. We started off with food scraps drop-off. You can do that as a pilot program in your town, and that'll demonstrate how important it is, how passionate the residents are about wanting those type of options. Not everyone can compost in a backyard, right? But having a municipal drop-off site means that everyone in town can participate in the program. I'm a gardener, but I drop all of my food scraps every week at our food scraps drop-off. So again, one of the goals of Sierra Club is zero waste, whether that's manufactured products, whether those are food products. We really need to not waste, but instead figure out how we can turn it into, be a circular economy, put it back into compost that can go back into our ground. Thanks.
Well, that ends our program. I thank you all, and I like not waste. So with that, I'll end and turn it back to Paul. You have a mic?
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I hope everyone can hear me. And first, can we get another round of applause for our panelists? And our board president prepared, and our board first vice president prepared some certificates for our moderator and our panelists. So we'd like to see if everyone could take a picture together. This esteemed group of environmental superstars.
What a great group, huh?
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's a better one. All right. I know I made this request before, but could we get one more round of applause for our panelists? Thank you all, and incredible questions as well regarding composting, Beauty Justice Act, incredible engagement from our audience, so thank you all. And I think we're running good on time too, Madam President, right? So next, I'd like to welcome our board president for our annual report.
Thank you. Let me just check with Derek. Is this the good mic? Yes. Well, I love that, the presentation just now. I mean, for one thing, just to remind you, I use food scraps. I put all the food scraps in the bin and take them down to the, the collection point in Hastings-on-Hudson. But the great thing about food scraps is you can put anything in there. You can put fish, cheese, anything, not just fruits and vegetables. So it's great. You use your own garbage is much less, and it doesn't smell. Derek. I don't think I can do the annual report without the slides because I've got them all in order. I also love some of the other lessons that we learned. The Yonkers community-based climate action plan, and of course the Repair Cafe. Hastings is big on the Repair Cafe, and was it COP27, Pamela? Anyway, that they had the Environmental Justice Pavilion, and now they don't have it anymore. What's that about? So it was a really very interesting program. Thank you, Derek. Okay. Thank you all. So now is the time for our business meeting. Because we have such a packed program, it's going to be a very quick presentation of our annual report. Our annual report is available on www.UNA-Westchester.org. And these are some of the highlights. I mainly wanted to point out the main committees that we have, where we would love to have some of you join and help us out. Advocacy Committee. Rosemary Uzo, right here. She's the co-chair. And the main point of the Advocacy Committee is to talk to our political leaders, mainly at the national, but also at the local level, to support the work of the UN, the United Nations, and U.S. leadership at the United Nations. As you undoubtedly know, the U.S. used to be the leader at the UN, and it's very sad that we've lost that with the current administration, but hopefully it will come back. Rosemary has to go all over the county. She brings people to our programs, our public programs, and also talks to them, at the national level. I usually go to Washington once a year to lobby our representatives to support the work of the UN, peacekeeping, and the regular budget. And we also, Michelle and I, and an intern, Marika, went to the Commission on the Status of Women this year and attended the sessions and worked hard with the group on Ratify CEDAW, Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. We are supposed to implement that in Westchester County. We have a resolution from the Board of Legislators, so we're trying to move forward on that. The U.S. hasn't ratified it. Communications Committee, unfortunately, Rena Cadaval is not here right now, but she's our communications chair, and I think Andy will be joining her. We have a quarterly newsletter. The recent one that just came out was mainly the annual report, so you can see the annual report there. And of course, we have Facebook and other, and our Westchester, UNA-Westchester.org is our website. So the program committee is the most active committee in our chapter. We have normally 4 programs a year. Nikolina Gelmanovsky has been the chair over the past year, but she's stepping down, so we want to reconstitute a new program committee with a new chair. So we have 4 programs a year. Earth Day, such as this one, each year. Last year was on April 28th, usually relates to climate and what some other some other theme related to climate. UN Day in October, and this year it'll be October 26th. That is normally sustainable development goals and aspects of sustainable development goals that are being implemented here in Westchester. This year, it's going to be on October 26th at the Greenberg Public Library at 2 p.m. Human Rights Day, which is in December, and this past December, we had a program with Victoria, and the Nation Voice Foundation. And then International Women's Day, this year it was at Manhattanville College. It was a great program. We had a packed audience, and it was really a wonderful program with Bella Abzug's daughter as our keynote speaker. She was very fired up. Yeah. Okay, so these are just some pictures from the last year's programs. Education Committee, Mr. M is one of the co-chairs, and we want to bring more people on the Education Committee, and I believe Mazone might be joining us. We have a yearly table at the Lower Hudson Valley Teachers Conference. I think we forgot to mention that we have a media contest every year, and we assist at the WFUNA, that's the World Federation of United Nations Associations. At the UN, we have a kiosk there, and M was part of Kids Day at the UN this year, as well as the Model UN. The Model UN conference, yes, in February. And we also helped out with a Model UN conference between Turkey and New York State. The Turkish half is going on at the end of May, the end of this month. The one in New York was in April, end of April. End of March. And so that will be going on every year. It's supported by UNA-Westchester. But that's for high school students. And then the third graders program, Peace Makes the World a Better Place. For those of you who were at the International Women's Day program, Harmony Hopwood was one of our young people who is the Poet Laureate of Westchester County, the Youth Poet Laureate. I think I might have messed this up. Membership Committee, we have about 315 active members, and of that, a large majority are youth members. We have a new membership distinction, which is the young professional. So the young professional is between 18 and 25, and those people have to pay $25 a year, but under 18, it's free. And then standard membership is $50 a year. And please, visit our table outside. Em will probably be sitting there if you feel like joining us, or if you haven't already done so. And this year we won the UNA USA #1+ campaign for recruiting the most new members, and it is completely due to Em and Rosemary Uzo. So thank you. This was a nationwide thing, and we won, so how about that? Young professionals, it was headed up by Julianne Wang and Harshal Shet. They are both stepping down, so we have to create a new young professionals team, and I believe one of the new board members will be part of that. Outreach to local schools, and then they have planned collaboration with the Youth Bureau, Westchester Youth Bureau. Thanks to our board. These are the board members that will stay on for one more year until 2026. Nicole Butterfield is membership chair. Colleen is here. Program, Nicolina's program. Raina is communications. Education. Paul, everything. And Victor is not here, and Karen is not here, but they are both on Zoom. Now, I want to call on Paul to announce the election of the new board of directors. Paul. And there they are. Go ahead.
Yep. All right. Thank you so much, Madam President. So yes, we are honored to share that we have a new slate of board members that are elected to serve on the United Nations Association of Westchester County's Board of Directors. We have board members that will be serving either a 2-year term or a 1-year term. And I would like to announce some names, and if those of you who are present, please stand, wave, and we could discuss after this meeting about a formal swearing-in ceremony. And first, I would like to announce that returning to our board, we have our first vice president, Mr. Mihalidis, for a 2-year term. We also have returning for a 2-year term our communications chair, Raina Cadaville. And now nominated, who were recently elected for 2-year terms, we have the phenomenal Nicole Benjamin. And ironically, right next to her, Andy Lobb, who is returning to our board, and Andy is a former Young Professionals Chair for our organization as well, too. We also have Michelle Shivers for a 2-year term. And now for who will be serving a 1-year term, we have Mezuan Arnon. Yes. We have Allison Christmas. We have Connie Jones Hairston. And we also have Jose Nunez, who will be serving as our next Young Professionals Chair. Jose couldn't join us, but
He's from the Yonkers Partners in Education, YPI.
yes.
So we're very happy to have him on board.
Yep. So we definitely want to thank everyone past and present that's looking to support our board. We have some of our members that are here as well from our board of directors, and also we have some dynamic people that might be potential board members in the future. So I will be reaching out to some of you and seeing if you'll be interested for next year's cohort. Thank you all.
Great. Let me just see, where's that? Oh. Yes, welcome to our new board. We're so excited to have this new group of bright, young and not so young people, but mostly young, unlike the rest of us. Anyway, thank you so much. Now it's time, finally, as our program winds down, we want to recognize some of our dedicated heroes in the community, and I will call on Mr. M to begin.
Again, welcome to everyone. One of the best segments of our final meeting of the year is the announcement of the winners of the Education Media Contest. And you can see their work on their website. I kept on hearing new members, et cetera, but I'd like to give a round of applause to Paul. Please give a round of applause because he did this whole thing. With the backing of Marcia, of course, okay? But this is what it's all about, isn't it? It's about getting the young people involved because they are the future ambassadors of our world. And these individuals, most of them come back, and we believe very strongly, if you're a member, come back and give back to the community that gave to you. This year, our winners, there's 4 from the IB program from Mount Vernon High School, Jaden Rivas, Carol Luna Fuentes, Elijah Wallace, and Cortelia Gillings. Congrats to all 4 of you, your teachers, and most importantly, to your parent or guardians. A big thank you from all of us for participating. And you can see their work on the website. Thank you. Now, bittersweet, but it's also part of a celebration in many ways. A final note from us. With sadness, we share the passing of one of our own, a long-standing member of the Education Committee, co-chair, Ms. Tricia Valdez. She will be greatly missed by all. In recognition and in tribute of her work, and as an educator and as a member of the UN family, the annual Westchester Chapter's Media Contest will be named in her honor and memory. So from now on, you will see that. Thank you very much.
Okay, so now we will be recognizing our honoree for this year. And this year's honoree is someone that has been doing incredible work. And when we were planning this year's annual event, this Earth Day theme, we were thinking about what type of person should we honor? We usually honor someone in government, like an elected official, that probably has a wall full of proclamations and will forget about this award. And we thought about honoring someone that, lives and breathes the work that's being done at a municipal level in spirit of what the United Nations is fighting for through numerous sustainable development goals. And this year's theme of being protecting the environment and healthier communities, we came to the agreement to honor Marlon Molina, Deputy Commissioner of Planning for the City of Mount Vernon. Marlon has been doing incredible work. Yeah, I have a little speech prepared for you, but if you were to come down, yes, it would be great. For those who may or may not know, but Mount Vernon is known as the City of Trees. And the work that Deputy Commissioner Molina has been doing has been invaluable towards creating the private-public partnerships and the financial resources to help support the City of Mount Vernon being able to do a reforestation plan that not only beautifies the city, but also helps support some of the, I guess you could say, resilience that's needed, combating urban highland effects, also making sure addressing air quality. So the work that someone that Marlon, as a deputy commissioner, as Mr. Manasse said, someone that's in the boiler room, getting the engines moving, is invaluable towards that work. And to share about work that Marlon has been doing, he has helped secure federal dollars for the City of Mount Vernon with helping address urban heat island effects through reforestation. He has also helped secure state funding through the Office of Governor Hochul in helping support the state of New York's goal of planting 25 million trees by the year 2033. He also has been supportive of the establishment and serving as a liaison for the City of Mount Vernon's Tree Advisory Board, and also has been supporting the City of Mount Vernon holistically with updating tree ordinances and making sure that the tree planting and site locations are in areas that are most convenient for residents in our community. So we do want to thank you, Deputy Commissioner Molina, for everything you're doing. We do have some gifts here in recognition of everything you're doing, and also the floor is yours to deliver some speech. And also, I would like to, one last thing, I do want to wish Deputy Commissioner Molina a happy Father's Day, because I see he brought his queen and also our...
She didn't need a mic.
Yes.
So you've been hearing her the whole afternoon. So.
And a future board member as well, too. That's for you, Deputy Commissioner. Thank you for everything you're doing. Yes. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Oh, you want to say a couple of words?
Oh, sure.
Yes.
Well, I think we're going to do a photograph
first. Okay. Yes. Mr. Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. First, I want to say I'm a community organizer by trade. And I started community organizing about, I'm going to say 25 years, 30 years ago. And I think echoing what you said, and I actually didn't learn this when I was doing community organizing. I learned it later on as you get to know leaders, their experiences. Community organizers move on, but the leaders stay in their place, they stay in the neighborhood, and they continue the work. I say that the shelf life of a community organizer, if you're on the ground, it's like you're working 11 to 9 p.m. And there's only so long that you can do that. And there's some folks who actually stay with that mission. And now I'm in government, but I try to bring that perspective into government. And I want to recognize my colleague Shane Brooks, who's the Director of Sustainability, and we partner with DPW because, and where did it go? Okay, I don't know how much time I have. It's about resources, and if you are going to advise on policy, you have to figure out, is that policy supported with resources? And in my role, I always try to make sure that if I'm in front of somebody who is, a decision maker, the mayor, or the city council, any opportunity that you have to advocate, you have to educate. And that is sort of like the role of that organizing role where you're trying to influence folks who manage resources. So I want to thank the UNA of Westchester for recognizing my work. And it's not just my work. I learned a lot from the tree advisory. Most of the organizing that I did was around housing and community development. And I was appointed because the tree advisory board is made up of a DPW rep, a planning rep, and 3 community members. And those 3 community members were the ones who actually organized the effort to update our ordinance. And the impact that the ordinance is having is that we're educating the public about the benefits of trees. And as Paul mentioned, City Hall can use some policy education from the community. And I am here to help facilitate that in the city of Mount Vernon. And we were one of the recipients of the federal grants that I think Groundwork won the lion's share of that grant. But we were able to be at the table because of the Tree Advisory Board. It educated the city, and we were ready to participate and submit the grant. And I think that is why community involvement is always important in educating city officials. So I want to say thank you and best of luck in your endeavors.
Thank you so much. We're so happy to have you here. All right, we have a couple of more awards to give, and one of my favorites is to our Model UN team in Westchester that always wins major awards at the National Model UN program, and that is Mercy University. And the team, the faculty advisor is Michiko Kuroda. She's been doing this for about 12 years, and they've been winning for about 12 years. So she's essential. Can you come up, please, the team? And I don't know if anybody can you take some pictures? Please, come on up. Yeah, all of you.
How about Aurora? With Turkey?
Oh, the turkey? No, they're not here.
No, yes, Aurora is here.
Oh,
She can come too.
Aurora, sure, Aurora, yes. Of course. Okay, she won a couple of years ago, but she's she's still active. Do you want to, who's going to say a word?
Isabella.
Isabel. So this team wins every year, and I'll just say their awards this year were for representing Jamaica. They got the honorable mention, and they got an outstanding position paper, and they are dedicated to the sustainable development goals in the spirit of the United Nations. Isabel.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Isabella Venegas, and I am the Deputy Head Delegate for Mercy University's Model UN team. On behalf of all of us, we want to thank the United Nations Association for recognizing our achievements in this past conference, the NMUN New York 2025. This conference to me means growth, to all of us. This is a journey that makes us better delegates and global citizens. It is the journey of change and of finding yourself. I also want to extend a special thank you to Professor Kuroda for her constant support and guidance. Nothing of this would be possible without you. So thank you, Professor. Not only do we talk about global issues, not only are we doing resolutions, but we are shaping the future for all of us. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It's a great team. Can you take a couple of pictures, Paul? Maybe I can slip in here with the team. Keep up the good work every year. And I believe that conference is held at the UN headquarters, or it's the one at the hotel. Yeah, for the ceremony is at General Assembly Hall. Thank you all very much. So good to see you. And one last award I have for our young climate activist, Eliane. She is 14 years old. She's known as the tree girl of Africa. Eliane.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Here comes Paul. We don't have a photographer today.
I understand.
Okay, Eliane, you want to say a few words
I
about
would
your
actually.
work?
I would.
This microphone works.
Thank you very much, everyone, for attending this wonderful meeting, this wonderful conference. It's amazing to see that people are actually interested in making a change in the world, whatever small way they're doing, whatever big way they're doing. Now, as a 14-year-old who's been in this process for 10 years, I started when I was 4 years old, and I've seen that the only reason you can make change and the only way you can actually make change in this world and through changes in this world is through taking action. It's that simple. Whatever you can do in your community, whatever you can do to empower people to change their mindset, to change how they think, to change how they view their world, to make them understand that they can make a difference by themselves, with themselves, in their community, that is the key to success. And as I went to RFK, I went to Manhattan University actually the other day, and I was told by Kerry Kennedy, and she said, speak change to power. What does that mean? Change your ways 1%, 2%, 3%. Make a difference by yourself in your community, and then power will start to listen. It is that simple. Speak change to power and take action. And that is what I've seen throughout my 10 years, my decade of experience in conferences like this, in meeting world leaders, and making policies, changing the way people view the world, and really empowering those communities who are unheard, unseen, and making them not just seen, but also making them understand that they have a power and a position, no matter how small, to make a difference in the world. So take action, and that is all I'm going to say, and you can do it. So yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you so much, Eliane. All right, so our program has come to an end. I wanted to thank our outstanding keynote speaker, Valentina, all of our wonderful panelists. What an interesting program, our committee chairs, and all of our precious volunteers, and many of them are in the room right now. And thank you to all of our participants and our co-sponsors. Please join us for refreshments at the back outside the room. And the zero waste reception is being organized by Falenza. She's probably she's back there. Is everything ready? Okay. So please join us outside and speak to our participants, speak to our students, our panelists, and Mr. M at the UNA table. Oh, did you have anything else? No. Oh, okay. Thank you all very much for coming.